what I learned over the 20 plus years that I've been doing this is that there's great supports for the lower functioning or higher needs individuals on the spectrum, especially if you can see behaviors or challenges, cognitive delays, things of that nature from a very young age. You get diagnosed at 18 months and services are already handed over to you.
Yes.
You know, in California, we're so blessed that we have regional center. A lot of other states don't have that. So not only do we get regional center support, we get state funding, then, you know, the kids start school, they get district supports. And so when you're really high needs, you get a lot of that support. It's when you are low needs and you blend in, so to speak, with the rest of the people, you don't look like you need support. If you can flourish or excel at school, you don't look like you need support. If you can get along and not have behavioral issues, not stand out in any way, there aren't any deficits that pop up, so to speak. And so a lot of those individuals are who I started to see needed the biggest support.
Welcome to another episode of Love, Growth, and Narratives. I'm Frederick.
And I'm Tiffany.
And today, as you can see, we are on location at the offices of Jenny Ray. Jenny is someone who we really appreciate, who has helped our son with a lot of his, growing up type of difficulties. And she has an exciting announcement that we want to give her the chance to talk about, and it's something that's really near and dear to my heart. Tiffany, you want to say anything before we get started?
It's also close to my heart as well as a teacher, even though you'll find out more when you listen to what Jenny has to say, that she's going to be working with adults as well. But we're going to be talking about autism and helping high-functioning adults to manage their lives. And every year I have at least one or two students who are autistic, and so this is really important to me as well. And so I'm excited to get this conversation going.
Okay. So, Jenny, tell me something about what you're trying to accomplish here. Oh, but before you do that, tell us something about you.
Something about me. Well, I met Tiffany and Thibault back in 2004. But I actually am a therapist that specializes in working with children and families, moving and shifting to all ages, but I specialize in children and families with a primary specialty in individuals on the spectrum. So it's what I've been doing for the last 15 years, more or less. I also have a sister who's on the spectrum, and that's actually why I do what I do. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And being someone who is also on the spectrum, that what you're doing is actually important. So let us know what you're trying to, your new effort.
Well, tell us first, we are in your office. Tell us, why are we here? What is this office all about?
So, if I kind of have to go back a little bit.
It's fine.
In 1999, my sister was born. So my dad got remarried and I have a sister. She was born in 99. And I want to say around 1 year, there is debate about this, so I'm not here for any debates. I don't agree one way or another. I'm just giving my personal experience of what has happened. She had some allergic reactions to foods that we were introducing into her diet, so she was on some antibiotics because they were misdiagnosed, so she couldn't receive her vaccines according to schedule. And at 1 year, she was free of those, and the doctor gave her a few too many maybe to catch her up to the ones that she missed. And within a couple of hours of those shots, we saw a different child. And it took about 2 years to diagnose. We thought she lost her hearing. We thought she lost vision. We thought everything under the sun until she was diagnosed at about, I want to say 2.5 or 3 years old, maybe something in there with autism. She is low functioning or higher needs. When it comes to that, she's nonverbal. Any language she has is very rote. She needs lifelong care, essentially. My stepmother is her permanent caretaker. And because of this diagnosis, I was in the middle of my undergraduate education at college. I was actually going to be pre-law. So I have a degree in political science and criminology, as you can see it on the wall. And I received this information when I think I was a sophomore. And so I went to the library and researched all I could and decided that this is what I wanted to do. So I shift directions and I started working with children on the spectrum. And through it all, I learned a lot of how great the communities are and how much support they receive, but I also learned where there's a lot of lacking in a lot of services that they need. So I wanted to get my mental health credentials and become a licensed therapist to be able to help in different ways. And what I learned over the 20 plus years that I've been doing this is that there's great supports for the lower functioning or higher needs individuals on the spectrum, especially if you can see behaviors or challenges, cognitive delays, things of that nature from a very young age. You get diagnosed at 18 months and services are already handed over to you.
Yes.
You know, in California, we're so blessed that we have regional center. A lot of other states don't have that. So not only do we get regional center support, we get state funding, then, you know, the kids start school, they get district supports. And so when you're really high needs, you get a lot of that support. It's when you are low needs and you blend in, so to speak, with the rest of the people, you don't look like you need support. If you can flourish or excel at school, you don't look like you need support. If you can get along and not have behavioral issues, not stand out in any way, there aren't any deficits that pop up, so to speak. And so a lot of those individuals are who I started to see needed the biggest support. And what I notice in my practice now, while you guys are here, is I see a lot of them at around 15, 16 years of age, where they're starting to notice there's a huge gap. Like, I can't make friends. I can't date. I can't go out and do all these other things. I can't drive. I can't get my license. I'm not going to prom. Like, all of these things start to happen. And before you know it, like, they are suffering from depression, high anxiety, they're being bullied at school, and they don't know how to navigate life. And then 18 years of age come, they graduate high school, and now all supports are gone, and they don't know what to do. So I see a lot of those and see where the holes are. They don't get the services to help them with dating. They don't get the services to help them with, like, executive functioning, learning how to manage their life, because that piece is missing, so to speak. They don't get the social cue, you know, awareness education on how to read a room or how to tell if someone's body language is showing you that they're uninterested or they're really interested, you know, whatever it may be. And so, you know, at 18, when you have to go out and be an adult, you can't be neurodivergent and succeed if you aren't given tools to do that. And so that's really what the goal of my next adventure is going to be, is to try and provide those tools and resources to the underserved population, because they don't have any of them.
So I know that you are working on starting a clinic for adults who are high functioning. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So what my goal is I want to open up kind of like an adult day program that would offer supports to individuals age range really 18 to 40, 45 in there, and provide them adult self-help tools to adults and live life successfully as neurodivergent individuals. The goal is to provide executive functioning courses to teach how to do time management, scheduling, planning, things of that nature. A lot of times the parts that are challenging for high functioning individuals on the spectrum. I want to offer dating courses, sexual relationship courses, intimacy courses, teaching them that, especially because so many times at this age, you know, once they turn 18, a lot of individuals can get prosecuted as an adult.
Yes.
And so they don't know the right way to approach an individual when they want to date, and it comes across as stalking or doing things that are inappropriate. So teaching them the right way. And believe it or not, a lot of them hermit so much that and don't feel comfortable, so they turn to pornography. They turn to a lot of inappropriate things to guide them and not have the right tools. And parents sometimes don't think that these feelings happen or it's possible, so they just forget that part of, you know, the education process of parenting. So I want to offer that. I want to offer social classes, a place where they can come and socialize outside of a structured class as well, and mental health services as well. And the other part is I want to also offer supports to the caregivers and the parents of these individuals. So helping them with trust planning, helping them learn and navigate Social Security and disability benefits, helping them understand conservatorship and what that looks like to have a dependent adult child, and, you know, maybe partial conservatorship or full conservatorship, just giving them a lot of tools that a lot of parents don't get, and providing support groups for them as well. So
Yeah, so one of the things I wanted to ask you, because, you know, we know about people who are low functioning autistic that, you know, have a lot of needs. Why is it so difficult to diagnose those on the higher end of the spectrum that can do most things?
That's a really good question. I mean, I could give you an example. I have a 31-year-old client now who's looking to get diagnosed because during his elementary years or schooling years, he was really good at school. He is phenomenally brilliant. Like, he is so smart.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times when you are cognitively bright or show no cognitive deficit of any kind,
Right.
you don't look disabled, right? There's no physical disability with autism. A lot of times you don't see it.
Right.
It's all internal. And if there isn't that rote self-stimming behavior or outward behavioral challenges, and you can pass your classes, you can follow directions, you can do a lot of what we ask neurotypical kids to do, you go undiagnosed or mislabeled a lot of times. They see things, they're just anxious, or maybe
Right.
they have depression. That's why they're not socializing, instead of seeing it as maybe they don't know how to, or they don't know what's going on. And so that goes misdiagnosed because you can keep up with school and the social side just goes to the wayside. They don't see that until you're out of school.
So then how do you pick up on these kind of things? Or not just you, but in terms of parents, how would you recommend parents to pick up on these kind of things?
Well, I mean, I think it's a lot of times knowing your child and understanding, what their deficits or where their areas of need are. So if you see that your child isn't engaging or doesn't have social relationships or strong peer relationships, sometimes questioning, asking them, having conversation will help you gain insight. If they're high functioning on the spectrum, though, as parents, a lot of times you should notice certain cues, like a child not being able to read the room. You shift your tone and get upset, and the child not responding to that necessarily unless you're yelling, like a very elaborate shift, right? So they have to see extremes. You're either laughing and overtly happy to identify that you're feeling happy or positive, or you have to be yelling or crying to identify an unhappy or unpleasant emotion.
Right.
So a lot of times parents need to start to notice that. It's not that the child just doesn't get it or they're absent. It's, they really aren't noticing it. A lack of eye contact, a lack of being able to understand when someone is telling them something and they don't get it. Sometimes even just outside things like perseverative behaviors, just having very select interests and going all out on those select interests.
Yes.
And being able to only talk about those select interests. There are a lot of key identifiers that we can definitely point out for those parents who are dealing with someone who can pass all of the other tests and not come up as like high on the autism scale.
Now, does this show basically the same way in girls and boys?
No, very different. Boys are also way more diagnosed than girls. Boys have it way more than girls do. I'm not making this up. It's in the statistics. You can look it up. But girls present very differently as well. Boys, their hormones affect a lot of it. So sometimes they just look like they're really inappropriate. Their behavior is inappropriate. Their language is inappropriate. They make really random, inappropriate jokes or comments. Those skewed things where you'd be like, whoa, what's wrong with that person?
Right.
Versus girls tend to hermit. They'll shut down. They tend to be introverted. They read the room a lot more, but they're not reading it. They're just sitting in it.
Right.
They're kind of parallel to what's happening. And even though it looks like they're there and part of it, they're really not. They're disengaged, or they're so anxious they don't know how to go in and interject themselves into social situations. So they tend to not have many interactions. But parents typically don't pick up on that. It just looks like they're more shy.
Mm-hmm. So you were saying that you want to help people who are between the ages of 18 and 44. And you were talking about typically parents would see these signs in their children to help them get diagnosed. But what if a parent didn't see any of that and you're now an adult? How can some people who are adults recognize that within themselves and go about getting diagnosed?
Good question. So it varies, and this isn't going to be like just black and white, these checklists of things, and then you have it. You probably would notice that you didn't always fit in for always. It's not something that you're just going to recognize as an adult, but as an adult, you'll notice you struggle more to build social connections. You struggle more with dating and intimacy. You struggle more with maybe getting a job or holding a job. The younger you are to young adult life, like 18 to 20-ish, you struggle with college a lot. You struggle with just managing things in life that feel very simple to other people. driving and multitasking, doing a lot of those things either are a challenge or you can't access them, or you notice that you're not developing at the same rate that maybe your peers that you enjoy or that you're, and I hate to say comparing, but probably comparing yourself to can do versus you can't do. But there aren't like any one or two things that you can identify, but a lot of it comes from a social and emotional standpoint. So if we look at autism is a social emotional deficit. Mm-hmm. It's not being able to connect with someone on a social level that seems neurotypical or normal, so to speak, to what the majority of the population do, and understanding emotions like that we as adults all struggle with, or humans, I should say, all struggle with, mm-hmm. but it's more complex, where a neurotypical person may have a reaction or a feeling behind something. Somebody on the spectrum or a neurodivergent person may not process it the same way. Easiest case in point that I can say is a lot of times in a breakup, in a situation where an individual on the spectrum and a neurotypical individual may be separate, or they could both be neurodivergent. Mm-hmm. The neurodivergent individual will get over it very fast. Mm-hmm. There's probably a little bit of grief there to some degree, but it's almost like it's over and done with, and literally move on.
Yes.
Neurotypical people are like years later, like so
right,
those kind of things.
Yeah.
But I think at least for me, and we were talking about this earlier, is because when you don't struggle to figure people out because you've never been able to, so you really don't even try. And so that's one of the difficulties, is that you don't have expectations of people. You don't expect people to care about you. You don't expect people to take care of you and all these types of things. And so when that person that you've been pursuing eventually says, yeah, I don't want anything to do with you, it's kind of like, well, I kind of expected that, And so it's not a good thing, especially since the things that you're interested in, you will obsess over those things. Those things have to work. They have to be perfect, or you can't sleep at night. But when it comes to people, because you've never been able to figure them out anyway, it's really, you convince yourself that it's not a loss.
Look at black and white perspective taking, right? It's something that individuals on the spectrum are known to having, is very polarized thinking.
Yes.
And if you think of it that way, if you can't connect, or if whatever happens ruptures in your brain, it's like, okay, well, that was meant to be, and it's fine. It's not necessarily just I don't matter type of thing. This never happened. It's just like, that's the way it is.
Yes.
I think it's a beautiful thing. Neurodivergent people can accept that. I mean, do you know how much I wish I could look at life and be like, oh, that's just how it is. And move on.
Sure. Like, save us a lot.
Right? I mean, even with like breakups, I have I have a 27-year-old kid. He just broke up with a 2.5 year relationship. They lived together for most of it. And literally after 3 days, he was like, they just don't want to be with me anymore. And that's fine. Like, what?
All right.
What?
Yeah.
Already talking about the potential of other people. I'm like, okay.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I mean, the difficulty in that is then you really don't have those long-term relationships because you don't know how to work through things. And so...
Or you're not fortunate enough, right? And a lot of times it takes having somebody else on the other end. Look, I think my best friend of 20 plus years is, sorry, I've never told him that, but I think he is. And look, I understand him. He can go off and do his thing. I mean, he loves to hike and climb. Mm-hmm. That's his thing. And he'll talk to me about it for hours. And honestly, I know that that's who he is, so I accept that. But if you aren't with an individual friendship-wise who understands that, you tend to just seem like an uninterested friend, or somebody who doesn't really care about anybody but themselves or their interests. And so a lot of times people will retreat because most humans are gluttons for themselves, right? They want to be in a relationship because you make them feel good, or you care about them, or you ask them questions about them. If you're not doing that, what's the benefit, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you just kind of need, like, I know my best friend loves me. He's the godfather to our child. So, I know what type of human he is, but ask him to get emotional on you, ask him to shed a tear, and he'll laugh. Like, it's just not in his wheelhouse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I guess a reason why it's so important to me, because like I said, I didn't get diagnosed until I was 40. And I can imagine how many people are walking around right now, older than I am, who've never been diagnosed.
Absolutely.
And so that's why what you're working on is so critical, because, people just feel like weirdos and they don't know why.
Yeah. And unfortunately, they don't have services to support that. So that's part of why I'm looking to open this clinic, is to be able to take, health insurance or Medi-Cal, to be able to provide to an array of individuals to help them even figure out how to access services, right? So if you're an adult that should be diagnosed, you can go to regional center. You can get the services. You can get the support. Not everybody's blessed to have a career or a family or something that can help them. So, giving them those resources to be independent individuals and thrive is the goal that I'm after, because that's what life is all about.
Absolutely.
We want to be able to live and thrive. Whether it's thriving in our own individual ways doesn't matter. We just want to live and thrive.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, circling back to this clinic, what you need is a certain amount of funding to help getting it off the ground.
Absolutely.
Which is what we want you out there to help us with. So we'll be providing that information of how you can support. But give us an idea of how this initial amount will help you get started.
So right now, I really am just looking to get enough to be able to lease a place for a year. That's the minimum required. I'm actually in the works of talking to our landlord here to try and lease the office suite next door. So I really just want funds to get 1 year of a lease signed, so I don't have to lose any money out of pocket. More funds, the better. Obviously, it will help me hire people and stuff. But if I have to do all the grunt and the legwork until it gets up and running, that would be what I do. The only challenge is why I need spaces. In order to get licensed, by the state, I need to be able to have a facility that meets fire code. And so I can't have a facility that meets fire code until I have one. And unless I have that, I can't get licensed. So it's kind of all intertwined why I need a location before I can pursue anything else. But that is what the initial set of funding is. And then hoping to get funds after that once I get established from other entities.
Okay.
So let me ask you this just real quick. So once you're able to get a facility, are the programs already there from the state and county to help you once you get past that initial hurdle?
Good question. So state and county don't help. I have all those programs already set up. So I have there are going to be 12-week long classes where you come once a week for whatever course you're going to be taking, and they're about 2 hours in length. And it's going to cover a different topic that will then encompass the whole thing. So at the end of it all, you will have a good foundation in what we're doing, but every week we'll discuss a new topic, provide homework that the individuals can do and practice at home, resources if parents are involved in any, or caretakers in any way, give them certain resources. But that is all set and ready to go. I just, again, need to get licensed in order to get the funding for people to do it.
Well, I'm confident that this is going to be a step in the right direction. I mean, we really appreciate that you're doing this work. It's much needed.
Definitely.
Now, how would people find out about your business and how, to get help?
So I will start marketing once I get up and off the ground. Once that happens, I'm also looking to get contracted with Regional Center. So Regional Center would be able to provide that. But you can also then, the website will be established, everything will be up. And you guys can contact directly. I'm looking to take health insurance, like I said before, Medi-Cal, so that I can offer to an array of individuals of all socioeconomic backgrounds, and they can access services that they need, private pay, whatever is there. I'm looking to be able to do that. So again, I can't do any of that until I'm licensed. So that's the goal of kind of being able to access and then spread out from there.
Right. Do you have the name of the clinic already?
I do.
Yeah.
So it's going to be Building Bridges, the Autism Collective. And we'll see, because that's exactly what I'm trying to do, is build a bridge, neurotypical bridge for them.
From a personal perspective, I love that. And I would love also if, once you get started, you could also, get services through the VA, because I know they have offices that are trying to serve, different parts of the population, of the veteran population, and they could use something like that because they don't have anything of that nature. And when you have people that are coming home from war zones and have all other kind of problems, if they're autistic, that just kind of adds to the problem. So yeah, I would love to see you be able to help, more people when it comes to that. So
Right up my alley. I will definitely add that to the list, especially because I'm also looking to add like future housing services that would have, a service coordinator be able to come in and make sure that the individual is thriving and able to live independently. And I know that a lot of veterans need support like that too. So I'll definitely call. I think I just have to talk to someone.
I can help you with that.
I mean, the person. I can do the legwork. I need the person.
I will absolutely help you with that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of different populations that need support. I mean, I would think that maybe there's a population of the homeless community that is suffering from this. Would maybe explain why they are homeless, or partly why.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the goal would be to reach everywhere I could. So I got to start in baby steps.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we're so happy to have you on the show, and we give you this support. And I feel confident that our followers will give you the support you need to get this off the ground.
And any dollar amount helps. If you think that it doesn't, trust me, it does. Anything. It all adds up at the end of the day. So.
Yeah, and once you get up and running, we'd like to come back and talk to you again and see what else you need after that.
I would love to, even if it extends to more clientele who now need a place to come and access services, whatever it is. Sure.
Awesome.
Thank you guys so much.
Oh, for sure.
Thank you.
So make sure out there that you're looking at the end of the video or on the channel itself for the link. Also, as we share it on different platforms, we'll provide that link as well. And please help out and please share this with people that you know. If you have children in school or they're nearing, high school and about to graduate, please, consider this for your child and anyone, family members, just anyone, just share this information. This is really important.
Yeah, it is critically important because this is a population who's really being served by nobody right now. And so what Jenny is doing is really, really critical. But with that said, for this episode of Love, Growth, and Narratives, I'm Frederick.
And I'm Tiffany.
Thank you so much. Don't forget, in the show notes, you will see a link to the GoFundMe or whatever Jenny wants us to put out there. And please contribute all that you can. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.